Tonight on the Standup Sessions, our guests Rhys Nicholson and Louie are bringing some light relief. And now, welcome to the stage, your host, Nazeem Hussain.
Hello, thank you. Welcome to a night of socially distanced comedy and chat with some of Melbourne's best comedians. And we've got a crowd, or an audience. We've got people here that are also working, so they're not audience, but they're crew, and they're all wearing masks, okay? We're all wearing masks. We only take them off just before we come on stage, so just calm down in the freaking comments section, all right? First time I've gigged in a long time. Feels like real life Zoom. This is, except I'm wearing pants. We're all wearing masks are now compulsory in Victoria, which is good news. We've been calling for that for years. And by we, I mean Muslims. So it's great. I mean, you know, it's ISO 2.0. We're all at home, lying around, the new normal, lying around at home, or as comedians call it, just ordinary life, you know? It's weird times, but when life gives you lemons, you make sourdough, right? Brand new material. No, I've been, you know, I feel like life has just gone backwards. We're taking life slowly, appreciating the little things. You know, people are learning instruments, writing letters to each other. Pen pals, that's a new thing now. Australia Post has said people are sending more letters to each other, just connecting in very old-fashioned ways. My sister used to have a pen pal a long time ago. Back in year 8, she had a pen pal in Japan. They used to write back and forth to each other. About 8 or 9 letters into this pen pal relationship, they decided to share photos of themselves. Right? So my sister, she received in the mail a photo of her Japanese pen pal. She took a photo of herself, sent it straight back to Japan. All of a sudden, my sister's pen pal in Japan just stopped replying to my sister. No more letters after that. Broke my sister's heart. Pretty obvious what had just happened. My sister's pen pal in Japan, she felt ripped off. She wanted a real Australian. Instead, she obviously thought, oh, my pen pal's been outsourced to India. Where the hell is Sally from Home and Away? Hate that Japanese girl. Can't eat sushi anymore. It gives me flashbacks. It's been a long time, Rhys. It's been so long. What do you do?
Nothing.
Nothing, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Louie. Annie.
Hello.
So excited to have you here.
Really excited to be here.
Why are you excited?
Because I'm just grateful. I'm like the wild card that's being thrown in.
Oh, I thought
probably the
really?
least recognisable.
And that's why your career is just...
Yeah.
Because you got that humility. Despite not needing it anymore, you're like you're a threat to the rest of us.
Stop it.
You're very good.
Thank you.
When was the last time you gigged?
I actually did my show fully online and was filmed at the same place that we're in right now, and that was last month.
Big break?
Yeah, so it was a breakup show, and I had a lot of fun. It was like a one-woman semi-theatre show as well.
Oh, wow.
It had some costumes and props and a bit of stand-up material that I workshopped at gigs around town as well.
Was there an audience?
There was an audience, about probably 10 people, so more than we're allowed to have tonight.
Yeah. Have you been have you done any Zoom gigs or anything?
I have done some Zoom gigs. Some of them have been good, others have been terrible.
Yeah.
Yesterday I ran a workshop for some corporates, and as soon as I introduced myself as a stand-up comedian, the guy left. And it was even worse than having someone walk out of a show, because the whole screen reshuffled and everyone's faces like changed, became bigger, so it was really clear that he's not coming back.
Wow. We met a long time ago. You just reminded me.
Long time ago, yes. When I was back at university at Monash, there was, I think I did like 5 shows in a shipping container, and I charged $5 and I only performed 15 minutes. That was the entire backlog of all of my material. But I think they asked me to do 5 minutes in a Spiegel tent and as a showcase, and
at
you were
Monash,
there as well.
with Tommy Little.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember this now.
That was it. So
That was 2010?
No, that was no. I was 16 in 2010 when I did Class Clowns. It was probably 2 or 3 years after that.
Whoa.
Way back, and I still remember you were like, "You should open for me."
I remember. No, that's right.
He didn't keep his word. But look, we're here tonight, and that's perseverance.
And now I'm opening for you.
That's right. Yeah.
See what happens when you don't keep your word.
Exactly. I'm the master now.
But basically, you've been doing comedy since what, 2010?
Yeah.
So what? I mean, you were in year 11?
Yeah. So the finals were held at the town hall the following year, so I was
Yeah.
in year 12 then. And yeah, it was such a high, like what a rush.
Why did you do Last Clowns? Was there someone that you saw?
Oh yeah, actually the year before I saw the grand final and Neil Kolhatkar won.
he's funny.
And he is funny. And watching that, I was like, I could do that.
You made it look easy.
Yeah. Or at least, yeah, you made it look like he was relaxed and having fun. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to have fun at the time. Yeah, it was a big deal. And I
How many
probably
people were in
haven't...
the crowd?
It was full, so it's like a packed town hall.
Like it's like 1,500 people or 1,200 people or something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the career-wise, it was stepping in and then coming out of comedy and not sure if it was for me because of the open mic scene. And,
Yeah. Well, what do you mean the open mic scene?
I think at the time there wasn't definitely no female room runners or safe spaces, I suppose, where I felt like I could go and gig that wasn't a dingy late night pub where there'd be like two dudes who were smashed and I'd come on and they're like, what is this? Where am I? So then after that, it was like setting a goal to do like 50 gigs in a year that got me back into it.
You set a goal to do 50 gigs in a year.
Yeah, and as part of that, to do the Melbourne Fringe as well.
So this is when you were starting out again.
Yeah, starting out again.
As a fresh comedian on the scene. You were like, I'm going to do 50 gigs in 1 year. How did you...
Succeeded.
You got
did it. Yeah.
I think people, like, when they see comedians like yourself or, they'll see you tonight performing and it's all slick and you're looking great. They don't know that hustle. So what's it like kind of breaking in as a woman, as an Asian woman, like in a scene like, the Melbourne comedy scene? I
think it's so accessible. Like out of all the art forms, it's not like acting. There's no one sitting there judging you and saying like, come on in. Like if you want to, you just got to be able to stay awake till midnight sometimes. Right. Having a car is a bonus.
So do you look at now comedians that are just starting out and see yourself in their nervousness, or are you still always as nervous as you've always been?
I think it is not as bad as it used to be. Like I used to get the dry mouth thing, like shaky voice. But I think from even when I started, I think there was a review that came out that said I just grabbed the microphone with such confidence, and so I've kept that one thing.
Really?
Like if there's a mic, I just freaking rip that thing off just to assert myself at the start.
Well, fake it till you make it, I reckon.
100%.
I think if you're like, because people are like, oh, how do you do comedy? Aren't you scared or nervous? And I think actually, like, we're all probably pretty nervous, but if you pretend you're not nervous, then the audience thinks you're not nervous, and then you start to believe it.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah.
And it's a good way to live life.
Yes.
Yeah. Just pretend you know what you're doing.
It's deep, man.
When I became a doctor, I pretended I was qualified. No, I never did that.
Can you take a look at this rap?
You're about to do a real life gig that's not via a laptop, and no one's allowed to leave this gig.
Oh, fantastic.
So you've
locked the doors. This is fantastic.
You've made it.
Yes. We're doing it. I don't know what this is, but we're doing it.
We can't touch.
We can't touch. Pew pew.
Give it up for your first act, Annie, Louie!
Hello! Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me. I'm probably the least famous person you're going to see on this series, but it's okay because I got spotted at a pasta restaurant recently. I was sitting next to a couple and they turned around and said, "Excuse me, were you part of the comedy festival last year?" I said, "Yes." They said, "Is your name Annie Louie?" And I was like, "Oh my God, please, I'm just trying to live my life." I miss gigging because I love going to regional towns. They're one of my favourite places to go to. One of the best gigs last year I emceed, and there were 5 people sitting in the front of the audience, and for some reason they were all wearing thongs, commented on it, and then after the show the bartender came up to me and he goes, "I want to show you something." And he was wearing thongs, but then he took his thongs off and underneath he had tattoos of thongs. And I said, "Where'd you get those done?" And he said, "Bali." And I was like, of course. I half expected him to rip off his shirt and show me the bintang singlet tattooed to his gut. I've been spending a lot of time at home, and my mum, she is the least badass lady I know, and I'm thinking, man, if I ever got a tattoo, she would flip out, right? Because the most badass thing I've ever seen her do was have a fight with an Indian man at a factory outlet over the last pair of Adidas slides, and she won. And she took them home and turned them into house slippers. Bad to the bone. Nazeem Hussain talked about his sister having a pen pal. I was allowed to have a pen pal when I was a kid, except they were all birds in my garden. Very sad. I would write letters that would say, "Dear Mr. Bird," and I'd put them in the real post box, and my mum would allow it. Like, what? She would be like, "Yeah, let's fuck up the Post system, do it." I've been having a lot of thoughts, a lot of reflections. I am very into birds. I've been watching heaps of bird videos, but I've realised there's one type of animal people who are by far the weirdest. You know when you're talking to someone, having a conversation with them and going, "You're a little bit odd," but you don't know why? And then they'll say something like, "So I was visiting my horse the other day," and I'm like, "Oh, that makes perfect sense. Horse people." When I'm bored, I like to learn stuff as well. I've got a lot of weird random certificates under my belt. I have my mental health first aid certificate, and I got to use it last year on a youth camp. I was trying to calm down a girl who was having a panic attack, and while talking to her, I farted. And she laughed. But she stopped panicking. I just think I should have been nominated for Young Person of the Year, just saying. I also started doing another course at TAFE last year. It was all because I got dumped very brutally. And so this guy that I was dating, he broke up with me by saying that one of the reasons we could not be together was because I do not play golf, which I believe is my greatest asset. So I went back to TAFE and I did a course to become a celebrant. I'm now a qualified wedding celebrant. But to get some experience, I thought I'd also dabble in funerals. So now my casual job is as a funeral assistant, which if you say fast enough sounds like magician's assistant. We're going to cut your grandma in half, hey! Just kidding. But I did think that the interview questions were a little bit weird. Like, the first question they asked me was, "Have you ever driven a hearse?" And I said no. And then after that, they asked me, "Have you ever worked funerals?" And I think those questions were the wrong way around. Like, imagine you had driven a hearse but never worked a funeral. Like, sick hearse. Is it for funerals? No, it's for fun. And it is a little bit confronting. The first time that I opened the lid of a coffin, there was an Asian woman in there, an old Asian lady, and I was like, holy shit. She looks so good. Like, you know the phrase, Asian don't raisin? Yeah, Asian don't raisin, even when you're dead. It was like finding out, I was so excited, it's like finding out you've got bonus years. Like, I'm a stand-up comedian, I gig out late, I'm drinking all the time, I should not look this good, you know what I mean? Yet I do. I just feel sorry for some of the people watching and some of the performers on tonight. Rhys Nicholson, he's only 16. It's so sad. My ultimate career goal, though, is to work my way up and then apply for a job at White Lady Funerals and then confuse the fuck out of everyone. Thanks very much. My name's Annie Louie. See you later.
I'm here with Rhys Nicholson. Rhys, you're about to gig for the first time in how long?
I guess, well, apart from those bootleg gigs I've been putting on in my basement for livestock, it's just a little cool because animals can't get it. Yeah. I reckon 2 months, two and a half months since my last, what I would call proper gig.
Did you show us your palms? Are they sweaty?
Yeah, vomited my sweater already, mum's spaghetti, yeah.
Melbourne's your home now, right?
Yes.
But you're originally from Sydney.
Why, did someone tell you otherwise?
Yeah, no. But I know you were born and raised in a place called Sydney.
No, I was born, listen.
Where were you from?
Born and raised in a very northern suburb of Sydney called Newcastle. Oh. We're the home of Silverchair. We're the home of Bootman, the Tap Dogs. So we're to blame.
Love the Tap Dogs.
Yeah, Steel City.
Yeah.
Charlie from High Five, that's us. Moved to Sydney. Sydney has a very particular scene. I lived there for 9 years, did comedy there. The reason I talk so fast on stage and I'm quite aggressive, I think, is because of Sydney, because...
no one has time for anybody there.
No one cares. Just get up there, get off. Was quite often what was said to me in those first couple of years. But then I moved to Melbourne and I almost had to kind of like scale it down a little bit because I would, I'd perform at places.
Yeah. People would actually want to listen to you.
Yeah, and they'd be like, cool your jets, man. You're coming in hot.
What do you think of Melbourne as a comedy scene? How have you found us?
Oh, look. Stick with it. No,
Yeah.
I think it is the best one, I reckon, because when I lived in Sydney, I used to come to Melbourne for a week or two at a time to work on my new material because the rooms here are so good and so like supportive, and like in Sydney, when you finish the gig, everyone just kind of goes home.
Yeah.
And no one's really kind of supportive of each other. And this is a broad generalisation, Nazeem. Like a broad generalisation.
I like broad generalisation.
Yeah. It's what Australia's built on.
Annie Louie.
Yes.
You know her?
Nah.
No.
Move on. No, yeah, of course I do.
What do you think of her?
Imagine if I know that she's standing over there, but imagine if I just went on a tirade about and she stole this, she took my wallet. It's great. She's great. Do you want me to go through joke by joke and let you know?
We did a gig with Annie a while ago. It was one of the strangest gigs. Where was it? Some university?
It was at a university, which is already somewhere that I'm uncomfortable. I was both publicly schooled and there was no secondary education for old Rhysy.
And Annie killed it.
Smashed it. I was infuriated.
I was so
I don't know about
annoyed.
you, but I'm automatically threatened.
There was a lecture theatre. For those of you that don't know what a lecture theatre is, it's like a cinema, but you're not watching movies. There's like a person at the front teaching things.
A very apt.
Yeah. That's what it is, right? How would you describe it?
I mean, that could be all of life. Have you met my cousin? He's kind of like a movie, but he's a person.
And he's not being filmed.
He's not being filmed. He's a man standing
He's a man walking around. I think comedy, correct me if I'm wrong, is a much more supportive scene than music. Because think about this, right? Backstage, Hughesy, hanging out with some person that's done one gig.
Yeah.
Sharing notes on jokes.
Yeah, you're exactly right. There's such a, there really, if anything, there should be more boundaries. But yeah, because you can be, there's a room in Melbourne called Spleen, and the first time I ever did Spleen, the other people on the show were Tom Gleeson, Fiona O'Loughlin, and Will Anderson were all, and it was, in retrospect, it was coming up to festival time and they were trying their new material. But me, I was like 19 and just going, am I at the gala? Is this the gala? It wasn't.
And Spleen is just this tiny little venue. It's like a bar.
Let's stop giving Spleen time.
No, but the backstage is just a kitchen.
Yeah.
And that's where all these TV comedians are hanging out, just waiting, literally dodging the chef.
If people wonder what show business is like, if you're at somewhere like Spleen where the backstage is the kitchen, there's been times that I've been on stage at Spleen, it's not been going that well, and I knew that because I heard and a person at the back of the audience also, it's like, oh, my burger must be ready.
Well, you're about to do your first gig in a long time.
Yeah, and I'm sure it will be fine. I can do this for 15 minutes.
Give it up for Rhys Nicholson!
Hey, comedy concert! I remember how to do this, sure. Look, it's weird, lockdown, strange. We won't talk about it much, let's not dwell. But there's been some interesting things. This is what I noticed. First of all, a lot of my single friends throughout the first lockdown in Melbourne, they all got fit and buff and healthy. No, I've been in a relationship for 9 years. My partner and I, we shut the door and we started drinking like it was Jonestown. Because even before everything that's going on, I was one of those people. I was trying to get fit and healthier. I was trying to get into a shape. I started seeing a personal trainer. I could not afford a personal trainer and a therapist, so she was busy. Just a lot of I think it's just got a lot to do with my relationship with my parents. But I started doing that. This is what I started doing. Started last year. I started seeing a personal trainer. I used to go to the gym. I used to go at 7 a.m. because I thought that's what you're meant to do. That's where the health is. Go to the gym at 7 a.m. Don't go to the gym at 7 a.m. Do you know who's at the gym at 7 a.m? People that go to the gym at 7 a.m. Do you know those? I can't keep up with those types of people. So this is what I'm going to do now. When things go back to normal, this is what I do. Go to the gym at 11 a.m. Do that. Because do you know who's at the gym at 11 a.m? People that were told to go there by a doctor. And I'm a god to those people. I know how one of the machine works. It was disappointing to find out, though. It turns out I'm a 7 a.m. 4, but like an 11 a.m. 9. But
time-specific numbers. But I don't know, I'm trying generally, because a few kind of weird things happen. Like I was meant to get married at the end of May. We couldn't do that, obviously. It's fine, though. We can still do it later on. We kept the decorations because the theme was apocalypse. We started planning the wedding. It was stressful planning a wedding, because who doesn't love a wedding? Heaps of people. The problem with weddings is they're all great, but they're just never going to be better than the concept of Saturday. And how can I create that at my wedding? We started planning it, my partner and I. It was stressful planning a wedding until you realise that a wedding is really just theatre. That's all a wedding is. It's just a piece of theatre. But it's not just theatre, it's a school play. Because it's definitely for the people doing it, it's not for the people watching it. Do you know what I mean? And very similar to a school play, you go to a wedding and there's a little bit in the back of your brain, you hope to God something will go horribly wrong. Do you know what I mean? I went to a wedding a few years ago and the mother of the bride was making a speech at the reception, and at one point in the speech she went, "A parent is never truly happy until their child has found the person they're going to spend the rest of their lives with." And that was a pretty full-on thing to say. And then the recently divorced sister of the bride went, "Oh, piss off, you old hag," and stormed out. Nom, 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 nom. How can I get that kind of energy? Oh, another one almost 2 years ago? My aunt passed out drunk at her daughter's wedding, and she passed out behind the DJ booth and her glittery shoes were sticking out, and we still call her the Wicked Witch of the East. So, fun energy. But I don't know, I'm trying a lot of things. I've noticed as I get older, it turns out time is linear. I've started plummeting into my 30s. I've gotten to the age where not only a lot of my friends are getting married, I've had a couple divorces in the last few years. This is something I've noticed about my friends getting divorced. You might have noticed the same thing. When your friends get divorced, it's never the ones you think should. Do you know what I mean? You're always like, oh no, but shouldn't it be? All right. Everyone has, like, in their group of friends, there's a couple that I would describe as like a drama couple. Like they're always 20 minutes late to dinner because Tristan put the keys on the wrong hook, and now we're all part of something. Last year I was having dinner with some friends, and they were these two friends that should not be together, and I introduced them, so I'm to blame, and they were telling us about how they're going to have a baby, and my fiancé and I had to be like, oh, cool, because yeah, if your house was on fire, why wouldn't you buy a petrol station, you know? Never sure about that one, and neither's the audience. I don't know, because as I get older as well, I've started noticing, because I turned 30, and 30 is not old. It's not old, but it's definitely an age where you notice that certain windows have closed in your life. Like, here's one. Lockdown, even apart from lockdown, I've never backpacked. And I can't start now. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's too late for backpacking. Like, there's always one 29-year-old at the hostel, you're like, oh, what's his story? Now, I've always thought you're not allowed to backpack for years and years and years, and then you can backpack again when you're like 60, 65. Like, she didn't need him. She's getting her life back. Eat, pray, fuck, you know? Very similarly, I've never had group sex, and I don't have the hand-eye coordination for that type of shit. I'd imagine trying to have group sex for the first time over 30 would be very similar to, remember in primary school trying to get into a skipping rope? Do you know what I mean? Just like, how do I get in there? I can't work out the rhythm. Is it the up bit or the down bit? Like, I could cater for a sex party. I'd be like, boys, I made sandwiches. Oh, gross. So have you. Never mind. But yeah, I found out I'm aging. I got invited about a year and a half ago to my 10-year high school reunion. I got a Facebook message from a girl I went to school with called Christine. We all went to school with a girl like Christine. She was in every student council. She had a very tight ponytail. And now when you see her, you're like, that's a very tight ponytail, Christine. It's so I feel something. All right, Christine. Spicy from you early on. And she was saying, we're having a 10-year high school reunion. Let's reunion. She said this particularly to me, though. She said, I know you got a dog recently, because I got a dog recently, so we're going to make it a daytime event. So your fur baby's welcome. Stop saying fur baby, I reckon. Stop saying it. It's one of those terms makes me feel very uncomfortable, very similar to a gender reveal party. I'm still waiting for mine. But which one? But like fur baby, I think it's a double standard term, because you can call my dog a fur baby, and that's fine. But the moment I call your kid a skin pig, suddenly people get furious about that. It's like, how old's your skin pig now? 9 years old. Cool. How long do they live? Yeah. Was it a rescue? But I don't know. As I get older as well, I've noticed my parents keep asking if my partner and I are going to have kids. You're going to have a couple of kids? Is a lesbian involved? I don't understand the process. I don't know if I'm ready to be a parent. I'm not interested in others. And that feels like a pretty important part of it. I don't want a kid like me. I was a nightmare as a child. Imagine this, but somehow smaller and stronger and angrier. I repeated a grade in primary school. I repeated year 1. Let that marinate there for a second. Like, what was happening in year 1 that little Rhysy couldn't quite grasp onto? Do you know what I mean? Just like a room full of children quietly colouring in and I was just licking a window. Like, I don't... It was a public school. They probably just let me do it. We put some Windex in his mouth. He does the whole school. But there's cutting down on costs all over the shop. But I'll leave you on this. I don't know. Here's a segue change. Good comedy, Rhys. Thank you. Oh, having an aneurysm, and we're good. It'll be a good end of the show. It's like down she goes. Wow. Comedy is essential. We a little while ago now, a couple of years ago now, we got gay marriage, and that was a very good thing. And we're enjoying our whatever it is. And I don't know. It's a strange thing because I feel like most people just think, oh, we're just good now. But there's still a lot of weird little things that we can't do. Like, I don't know if many people know this necessarily, but I can't give blood because I'm a gay man. I'm not allowed to give blood. If you go on the Red Cross website, there's a survey you fill out, and if you say that you're a man who has sex with a man, it says that you are at risk and you cannot give blood. It's the most disappointed I've ever been by a survey, apart from when I found out I was a Miranda. But the word that they use on the website is that you are at risk. Your sex is at risk. I would argue I've been in a relationship with the same man for 9 years. There is nothing risky about our sex. Like, if anything, let's risk it up. Like last year, Kyra and my partner fell asleep while I was giving him a hand job. And it's like, who's to blame in that situation? And when was I meant to stop? I'll leave it there. I'm Rhys Nicholson, and the rest of your lives. Thanks, bye.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed the night. Give it up for Annie, Louie, and Rhys Nicholson. See you next time.
Dirt in the air. I'm looking for a reason to cut my hair. Now let me tell you something.
Next week, Denise Scott, Jude Pearl, and Michael Nawe drop on by.
Looking for